I'd like to call the March 7th, 2024 Parks Board meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. We'll start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Marquardt?
Present.
Mrs. Miller?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Present.
Mr. Holtz is absent. Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera? Mr. Bungie?
Present.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mrs. Bookler?
Yes, Bookler, but now
Ray.
for the next meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Weissman?
Present.
And I'm present.
Okay, we'll start with the consent agenda. We had the minutes of the February 2024 meeting. Number 2, we had claims. So I'll go over the claims. Parks and Rec General Fund, $20,631.22. Park Impact Fee, there was none. Parks and Rec Non-Reverting Fund, $2,210.57. The Clubhouse Non-Reverting Fund, $3,881.86, for total expenditures of $26,723.65. Number 3 was donations. We had a food donation from Rise and Roll for the February Senior Social, Carol Ann's Candies Chocolates for the February and March Bingo. The Sandbar Grill donated $100 for the Easter egg hunt. Lakeshore True Value, $20 for the Easter egg hunt. JMA Architects, $100 for the Easter egg hunt. Fraternal Order of the Eagles, $50 for the Easter egg hunt. Rosati's Pizza Cedar Lake, 2 Easter baskets, valued at $10 each. And Jennifer Sandberg chocolate bunnies for the Easter egg hunt, valued at $50. Any questions on the consent agenda?
I don't have any questions, just want to say a thank you to everyone who donated and give a motion to approve.
Yep, thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Just one item I want to bring up about last month's meeting. When we approved the budget, we weren't really approving the budget. The budget was approved by town council, so we were just it was a formality to adopt the budget. So I just want to make that clear for the minutes for last month's meeting. Okay, so I had a motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to old business. First item in old business, which we discussed at last month's meeting, was the Kiwanis Park Pour and Play. Mindy, do you have any updates on this item?
Yes, last time we left off, there were some action items for me to take. One being that if, on the installation quote, if we were to do some of the work, if that would void warranty. The answer to that is no, but it's highly recommended that for purposes of liability being involved and all that, that you ask that they do put that in place. The thing that we could scratch off of the $6,800 demo and prep work would be $2,800, which would be to find out if we would get granted anything. And I'm not sure what the board's pleasure of wanting to move this project forward for the late spring, early summer months completion. What direction you guys would like to go on that? It's not a guarantee, but it's an opportunity at a funding source. And I just want to remind you that Everly Smiles Board, which is the communication board slotted for that park, is still on hold until we make further decisions on what to do with the pour and play and possibly additional amenities to that play area.
Okay. So basically, the overall quote, I'm rounding up, but the overall quote for pour and play and installation is just under $55,000, but we could deduct $2,800 from that if we if the Parks Department did the work of removing the mulch?
Yeah, exactly, my totals look like 49,549,
Okay.
yeah.
And Mindy, do you happen to know, what the estimated time would be for install of the pour and play if we moved on it?
So when I spoke with the, manufacturer, they stated if we made action last month, we would be looking at a late spring, early summer install. Obviously, we're a month behind because we're looking at, other things. We're considering other things at this time, other options. So if we make, a motion to move this forward, I would assume early summer for completion date.
And does that include, if we hired for that portion to get the surface ready?
Yeah, they said their contractor would be available at that time if we were ready to move. The only thing that I think would slow that process a little bit more is if there was consideration made to amenities, which is further on the agenda here, because we have to wait for those to be ordered in and delivered and installed before the pour and play, surfacing begins.
So those other amenities, everything has to be installed?
Yeah, you wanna put your footings in
Yeah.
and such before you start, doing the groundwork. They could be put into the rubber mulch at this time, and
Yeah.
it would be no problem. But you don't wanna start digging around that pour and play once it's in place.
Yeah. And that was my other question, so if things needed to be moved at the park after the pour and play's in, is that kinda like,
It's kind of frowned upon because
Yeah.
you're compromising, you're making more porous openings for that surfacing, and it's a little difficult than the patchwork is and such.
mhm.
It could happen if we had to take a piece of equipment out of rotation, so I'm not saying that, that is, not able to do, it's just really kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
Can I just add the additional funding source or the grant source that
Yeah.
you had brought up? Who was that with?
That was the Kiwanis Club, that I found that on. I actually even looked at, the Legacy Foundation as well on this, because we had met with them as stakeholders. But I didn't ask the direct question on this, because they stated that they really like to fund special projects and things that are unique. And to be honest, the pour and play surfacing is, pretty common everywhere. So this didn't fall in that category for a legacy ask. Although, Park Board member Sarah Miller shared this afternoon a couple links with maybe Land and Water and, other avenues that we could investigate. It's just really about figuring out what our timeline is, what our completion deadline is, and what our wants are
Yeah.
with it.
All right, is this an ADA approved?
Yes, this becomes a solid surface that it would be, ADA compliancy. We really talk about it being an all abilities playground, meaning that, you don't have to just be in a wheelchair, you could have, you could be on a cane, you could push a stroller with a child in it, but it is something that you don't have to, if you have balance issues, if that was your disability, these things it'd be a great place to do a prototype for the community, being one of the newer parks and more central to the community as a park.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that could possibly be rolled out at other parks in the system, but and it's pretty commonplace in other municipalities, I think. And
I said in every park system.
I noticed that the park in St. John on 93rd by the pond was just recently had the pour and play put in. And we've been talking about doing ADA compliant parks since we started, so I think we need to move forward with that, but
I know it's not I know it can be a very extensive and lengthy process, but, in some of my preliminary investigation, I mean, typically there's funds available. Don't know, now you're talking about a federal agency, and now you're talking, potentially years out before you get any kind of funding.
Yeah.
But if it is something that we are going to investigate, maybe putting that in the works for future parks and getting in the chow line, so to speak, on some of those other parks, try and get a jump on that.
yeah. And these, if we did move to just have Kiwanis Park done, this, I think we discussed last meeting, this could be done with park impact fees, correct?
Okay.
Yep. I mean, it sounds like if we did wait to see, you know, the grant funds aren't a guarantee, obviously, and we're not sure the timing of those, or if they're even, what they are, or where they're gonna come from, and what they would give us, but,
I agree, I think that's a consideration, is the project completion date and how fast you wanna roll it out. I can see it, you know, that as a consideration, but also, you know, utilizing those park impact fees, at this time when we have other things kind of on the horizon, just looking at the overall picture of wants and needs of the park system and making good decisions about that. And I would just ask you guys to consider those when making decisions. We can still put the Everly Smile out there with the mulch that's existing.
yeah.
And then, the musical structure and the swing, do we have any idea what lead time is for those kind of items?
I don't, I really wanted you guys to pick what you thought, and then I would ask for lead time on what you felt was appropriate. But that kind of sits under new business, so I thought we would dig a little deeper into amenities. I know one in new business was amenities to Kiwanis. We can maybe dig deeper on that with a quote, at least, or decision. But they do directly impact this, so I see how they go together.
Yeah.
Those conversations can lead very well, side by side.
I mean, we need to get ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Kiwanis is one of the few parks that's not in a subdivision, and we draw a lot of people to it, so
Plenty of parking.
I hate to hesitate on having a surface where people with a disability can use, you know, the main park also.
Yeah, I like the idea of starting at Kiwanis. Let's get it done. And then as other parks come up that we want to do, we could check further into getting funds from somewhere else. But for now,
Yeah,
I'd like to see Kiwanis
we
go
definitely
through.
need to look into grants.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have a lot of projects come up, but it would be good to get a move on this one location so that
Yeah.
everyone can access it.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think we need an all abilities park, and, you know, have that amenity for the community.
No, I'm not sure about the extra, I mean, I could see why we would need, one of those bucket swings, because that's a similar issue. And everyone can
Mhm.
use the,
I think that's gonna be a separate, consider on the new business.
Yeah, later on.
my bad,
No, it's all right.
got ahead of myself.
No, they do go together though, so. So if we were looking to approve this tonight, I mean, would amount not to exceed $50,000 cover this project?
Looking at the numbers and what we can do in-house, I feel like that's confident, you know, unless there's a jump in the last month in pricing.
And do we have
A not to
yeah.
exceed,
Does anyone know the number of the current park impact fee?
the current balance of.
Balance?
Because it's a line.
It's on the docket.
Didn't know it was just a line.
Oh.
That would just be showing your expenditure. I thought I brought one more thing, but was sitting in the cash account. But I don't have it.
Well, we would definitely need to know that first.
It's over $1 million though, right? I think it's,
Last year was
Yeah.
over $1 million.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't put it in my docket and
That's
stuff this time. I could check some email.
That's all right. I think it's over $1 million. I think it's, last I heard it was close to 1.2 million in park impact fees. And just to be clear, park impact fees are not part of the general budget. They're, collected from permits that are pulled by builders and building permits. So it's not taxpayer dollars, it's fees from permits. So, having discussed all that, is there a motion or any other discussion from the the board?
I would like to make a motion to, approve the pour and play for Kiwanis.
For an amount, so we're gonna have to recommend, the use of park impact fees to the town council.
What was the total again, Cindy?
Not
Not
to
to
exceed
exceed 50.
50.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to approve the pour and play at Kiwanis from park impact fees not to exceed $50,000.
I would second that.
Okay, I have a first by Sarah and a second by Greg. Is there any other discussion?
I would like to note at this time that I do have that balance, $1,095,184.07.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes. Okay, motion carries 3-0. All right, old business number 2 is the criminal background check resolution. Last month's meeting, we discussed having annual background checks for staff and volunteers. And so now we have a draft resolution from the attorney regarding this. Sarah, could you read the resolution?
Sure. Oops. So, resolution number 2024-1-PB, a resolution of the Board of Parks and Recreation of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, to require that all employees, staff, instructors, vendor representatives, and volunteers submit an annual criminal history background check and all matters related thereto.
Okay, is there any discussion on this item?
I know what it is.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
Yeah, we talked about this last meeting. Just want everyone to be safe, especially when we're working with children and the public, so.
Yeah,
I would like-
coaches and volunteers and
Yeah.
people working with kids.
So I would like to make a motion to approve this resolution for the criminal background check.
I would second that motion.
Okay, we had a motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Any further discussion? A roll call, please.
Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes. Okay, motion carries 3-0. Number 3, under old business, is the Taylor Ice Festival for 2024. Mindy, do you have any updates on that, or?
I'm kind of just hesitating to bring the committee back together again on the festival. We're just looking for direction as, how other things are playing out here in the community. But I think that will be firm, and it was just that, I thought it would be a good opportunity to come into the meeting, say, you know, that the Parks Department is in support of continuation as a community project or community event with the town of Cedar Lake. And that we just kind of had a blessing of, let's move forward with Taylor Ice Festival opportunities in December, the first weekend in December.
And I think a lot of this hinges on, the partnership with the farmer's market and how that's gonna work out with the town council right now, and see how that partnership is gonna work out, and if we can use them for this year, partner with them, for 2024, so, I don't know if we really need to take an action on this tonight.
That's right, maybe.
Making sure that the Parks Department does want this to be an event and to
Yeah.
collaborate with the town on it, as a community event moving forward, as it was intended when it was incepted as a annual, event, and maybe even talking about how much of the budget that you would be considering of earmarking toward it that will help in planning purposes, out of our event line item.
Yeah,
That sits in our general budget.
Well, I definitely would like to see it return. So I suppose at this point, we're just going to defer further discussion while we're figuring out more details.
Okay, sounds good.
yep.
Agreed.
All right, well then I will make a motion to defer, discussion of Taylor Ice Festival to, April, the April meeting.
I will second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Can I have a roll call, please, or sorry, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
and Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Number 4 under old business is the Lakeside Artist Guild Summer Concert Series. I think, Mindy, you have the list of dates, and some information on how we partnered with them last year.
Yes, last year, this partnership with Lakeside Artist Guild, we brought them in as a parks department sponsoring them, but the permitting and such was handled through the town manager's office through a special event permit, with a requirement of them to pay for their own security for the event, providing one police officer on each date. As we're working in-house, and we're almost there, with the town manager's office, we just wanted to make sure that it was brought to the public's attention that we were wanting to sponsor this again as the park board, as a park co-sponsored event. List the dates of, in this of June 16th, June 23rd, July 14th, July 28th, and August 11th. That we do have an earmarked stamp for them here, and the dates reserved until we can just get the actual permit moving forward, and maybe Jeff can speak on that a little bit. We're kind of working out new things, I think.
Well, I think so, and with the creation of the new park board, it sounds like, and again, maybe I'll defer it to the folks from the town council that are here, that these kind of events will now be changed, swapped over to administration by the Parks Department or the Parks Board. So, that's the way I understand it.
So would it still operate under a special events permit at no cost?
Well, if it's going to be a program of parks,
Mhm.
then I guess whatever your requirements are, I would guess, then it would be up to this board to waive fees.
Okay.
I believe he has in the past shown an acceptance of paying the salary of a security officer for the evening. I'm getting conflicting things as far as whether it was of cost or no cost last year.
If there was a fee charged or not, or
If there was a fee charged.
for the special event permit? Ooh, it could have been a $25 permit at that time
Okay.
per each event, which I think it would be received in. Was that the cost of the special event permit at the time?
I just want to enjoy them donating them.
Yeah.
Well, that was before the council changed it to a zero fee permit, so he could have been in at that fee rate. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, that wasn't handled through our office.
Well, if we're gonna sponsor the event and he's gonna pay for security, I mean, I would look for a motion to recommend the dates. Well, I guess we don't have, if we're gonna take this over, we don't have to recommend this to the town council then. Right, yeah.
And so none of those dates conflict with any other events that might be going on throughout the year?
Actually, these dates were placed in the calendar as of October 2023.
Okay.
And saved, so when the new calendar year opens, nothing could come in during those days.
Perfect.
And I think the community enjoys this. I don't think there's any negative feedback on this. It's a free concert series, no cost to the taxpayers of the town. So I guess I would look for a recommendation, or a motion to approve the dates and to have this as a Parks Department sponsored event, with no permit fees charged to Lakeside Artist Guild other than for them to still pay for the cost of security for each event.
I would like to give a motion to approve the dates requested for Lakeside Artist Guild at no cost. So we use the special permit, and they would just provide for their own security.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come out with a permit.
Definitely second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Any further discussion?
I would like to
Yep.
maybe note that we should include the, exchange of the certificate of insurance listing the town of Cedar Lake as additionally insured on their insurance.
Okay,
It's a good faith when you're working, these.
can you add that to your, just add that part?
I don't know if I memorized
Add-
every word you just
So
said.
to add the certificate of insurance.
To add a certificate of insurance.
Do I have to re-say the whole motion?
No.
Okay, so, with that motion to include to add the certificate of insurance through the town of Cedar Lake.
I second that.
Okay, first,
Sorry, guys.
that's all right. Motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Any further discussion?
No, I think it's just a great program, and I'm happy to have them back.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay, motion carries 3-0. First item under new business, which kind of piggybacks off of the Kiwanis Pour and Play project, is Kiwanis Park playground amenities. These are amenities for all abilities, and kind of sensory toys, amenities at the park. So we have a couple quotes on our agenda. Mindy, do you want to talk about those at all?
Yeah, sure. So we were provided 3 different items. When we're talking about an all-inclusive playground, some things that, you know, would make it a little more all-inclusive friendly would be bucket swings, molded bucket swings. There is a quote on here for just the swing, and another piece of equipment being a, they call it the Jingle Metalaphone, which is a music piece. And that quote for those 2 items together is coming in at $5,710 installed. Then we have the other quote with the, is this the drum one?
Looks like the drums, yeah.
The kettle drums, without, and 1 swing. So 2 kettle drums to go into the park, coming in with 1 swing at $5,135. And this is just a component of all-inclusive play, and we thought before we went forward with throwing in some semi-permanent servicing for the next 20 years, if there were going to be any upgrades, now would be the time, and then we could update the Emberley Smile board to reflect these amenities too.
And so do we have any experience with either of these amenities, or these are just kind of suggested by the vendor?
Molded bucket swings are very common in all
Okay.
the parks. I think everybody just thought that would be like the first step at ADA compliancy in the parks back in the day. I've personally played on these in other parks. I think the Metalaphone is a quite significant piece. I have not played with the drums, but I do see kids playing on them often when they are amenities in the parks. And parents playing with it.
And so for I mean, is there space to do the Metalaphone and the drums, or is this just, we should look at one or the other?
No, I mean, we can a la carte this quote to make it what we want of it. There would be space, as you can see, there's not really fall heights or worries about as far as distancing when it comes to those kettle, so it's just, you know, finding a proper place within the pour and play. We've got a lot of open area that could go into. So yes, you could consider 1 bucket swing, a Metalaphone, and the kettle drums as the 3 amenities that you would like to bring there.
And there's only space for one of the bucket swings, or only need for 1 bucket swing, I would imagine?
I think you should still need to leave your toddler swing and 1 belt swing would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
You're trying to cause all-inclusive play.
Yep. And are these, would these expenses be, would be able to use park impact fees for these also?
I would say.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so if I'll just do a little bit of math here. So it looks like if we did the Metalaphone, 2 drums, and the swing, it would come in just under 9,000. And obviously, we would need these in before we would put the pour in play, so it's not like we could do this after the fact.
Would you be considering the Rhapsody Metalaphone or the other, there were 2 quoted here.
Oh.
I just want to get specific.
Can do.
The Rhapsody one comes in at $5,970. And then the other telephone, which is the Jingle one at Rhapsody Jingle, comes in at $4,175. So which of those two would you be of interest in? There are color visuals on your iPad of what each one looks like. But the $5,000 one is a significantly bigger
Yeah,
piece of equipment.
it would probably make sense to have the smaller one if we're gonna do the drums also.
Okay. So you would like to make that motion for the junior Rhapsody?
Which one is that one at, Paul? This one?
Yeah, let me scroll down. It's the same, it's just smaller, I think.
Yes, I would do that.
All right, is there any other discussion on this item, or is there a motion to recommend this use of park impact fees to town council?
I think the bucket swing is appropriate. I wouldn't go for both the drums and the Metallophone. I would just do a Metallophone personally.
Okay.
And what's the height of the junior one? Does it say?
I don't know if there's dimensions on
No,
here.
see it.
of the playground there's dimensions, but not of the actual.
Yeah, and it does say it's for use for 5 to 12-year-olds.
Okay, well, that's the appropriate range.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure the little kids could use it, 'cause they're probably gonna be the ones that are all over it.
Okay, so if we looked at just the drums and the swing,
Not the drums,
not the drums, just
the junior Metallophone.
got it.
Okay.
That comes in at $5,265.
And then there'd be probably shipping, so that's, assume not the total.
I think the shipping cost is included.
I think that's included along
And
with.
would the park staff handle installation?
They would do the
Okay.
installation as well, and I've asked that that was included in your quote.
Okay. All right, so the total cost would be $5,265.
Nice.
Is there a motion from any board members?
I will make a motion to approve the junior Metallophone and the bucket swing from the park impact fees for a total of $5,265 at Kiwanis.
I will second that motion.
Okay, so there's a motion by Sarah, a second by Greg. Any further discussion?
I'm just double checking, the Rhapsody Jingle, the smaller one, with the bucket seat is actually, that quote is at $5,710.
Oh,
Yeah,
4175.
yeah,
let me redo my math, I'm sorry.
there's three quotes that
Yeah.
look identical to one another till you zoom in on them, so I do apologize, there could have been a better way to identify.
5710. Okay, so we would just take this quote option 2. So do you want to adjust your motion to 5,710?
Yeah, so the same motion to approve, only the cost not to exceed $5,710 from park impact fees.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sarah, second by Greg. No further discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay, motion carries 3-0.
Good deal.
Number 2 under new business is discussion of a park maintenance shop. I think this is more of a discussion item, but Mindy, do you have any updates on this?
Sure, yeah, as we were discovering this winter, the place and space that we had identified when the park, began, and we started hiring, that place and space just wasn't going to accommodate us. And so we made a temporary shop out of the pool house, which gave us an indoor space to do a few things, but it's not ideal. It's time that if we would like something for next winter, to really get on the ball as far as identifying a place, and how we would like to build a park maintenance shop. It's even hindered us in the fact that we couldn't order equipment that we had budgeted for just because we had no place to park it and store it. So we're looking to, I've been working and speaking with, the Director of Operations, Mr. Kubiak. He's identified 3 town spaces, as just recommendations to the board as to start thinking about. One being, 137th and Morse, which is directly across Morse Street from the pool house. There is a vacant lot there, would be his first, idea for a shop. The second place he identified is the northeast corner of the clubhouse property, because of just, utilities and such that are there. And the third place, he had earmarked would be the Lighthouse Well property, and that would be by the Lighthouse Restaurant over here. The exact location, I'm not sure where that's at.
Okay.
And it's just in these discussions, because I think the first thing that's identified is the place, then we gotta figure out, you know, the bidding process and what we're going to do to build. And park impact fees, is my understanding, would cover the ability to build a park maintenance shop. So, funding, you know, could come out of park impact fees as well. So just getting a handle on moving a project of this nature forward, it will take a little bit of time, and knowing where it can go.
Yeah.
So we're not in the same predicament coming into the future.
And what's the scope of the building going to be?
Like a built building, I know it by a certain name, an FDI building, but it doesn't have to be that type. Pole barn type building with an interior shop, you know, an office and workspace that is heated, and I guess air conditioned as well, but most of it would be for cold storage. The majority of the square footage would be for cold storage. But it's also been suggested, that maybe the Parks Department gets a new house in this building as well, since some of the movement that when we first came on board, may not be happening with a new town hall in the future. So we are in a very temporary space as a department right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously the facilities that we currently have are not suitable for a full staff department. Any other discussion from the board?
I think the main thing is just to get the equipment we're purchasing out of the elements.
Yeah.
And get our staff somewhere warm and dry, instead of putting them in the old pool house, you know?
Yeah.
That
It's
too.
just not great.
So you would be investigating additional places where you think would be a good fit, or what's the next step for you?
So these are the investigated spaces that were recommended by, Mr. Kubiak. I have asked him for a meeting, to get a meeting on the books with him and, Dale, our president of the board, to discuss like specs and next steps. So, that meeting has not been put on the books as of yet, but we were able to identify some properties, which feels good. He's known all along we've needed a place and space, and just how we go about it and the, you know, next steps moving it forward, so.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's important to identify that spot and then start figuring out what the scope of the project's gonna be and what the budget's gonna look like and the specs of the building, so.
And there would be say-so from the council on that as well,
Yeah.
because this is town-owned property. So, you know, the board may suggest something, and they may have different visions or ideas for those places. So I think it's just a collaborative effort, working more internally, but just identifying the need here in this meeting and the
Yeah.
next steps to move forward, if that is, you know, getting construction costs put together and, you know, permissions for places and spaces.
Yeah, no, I think it would be good to see the scope of the project as the weeks go on, so, I think if we wanna leave this on the agenda, we should defer it to next month's meeting,
Yes,
just so we can keep the conversation going.
definitely keep it up.
Okay, so is there a motion by the board?
Yeah, I'll give a motion to defer, discussion of maintenance shop. Mindy, how much time do you think is appropriate? Would next month be,
It may be too soon, only because there's kind of a lot of other things happening right now. It's really hard to get my hands on Tim Kubiak, he's a busy guy. Dale, no problem, but to be able to bring them together, I think it's, I can give you an update and see where I got with any of it, we can leave it on
Yeah,
there.
we can always leave it on the
For an update
agenda.
for next month, and
Mhm.
action items maybe will be identified in next month's meeting.
Okay, so I'll give a motion to defer, park maintenance shop discussion to April.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay, motion carries 3-0. Number 3, extension of the 5-year master plan for context design. So obviously, we're at the spot where we need an extension on the contract. Do you have any update on that?
Yes, we actually met with, the steering committees and stakeholders and the engineering firm, in February, and it was identified, at the steering committee meetings that in order to, properly gather, the community, and give community engagement opportunities, with our projected deadline of August, when we originally went into contract, it was going to omit those opportunities to use markets, farmer market and Summerfest opportunities where the community is here, even if those snowbirders were gone, but we're here for the summer months enjoying, the community. We would have less opportunity to engage them and get their, opinions at pop-up events. So, we identified that as we really do need those summer opportunities to talk with them and to extend this contract to an October deadline, but we would also need to consider changing out our invoicing to like an every other month. So, per the memo of context design, it would resemble our October 2024 delivery timeline.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right, so the motion that we'd be looking for is to extend the contract for the 5-year master plan to October deadline, and then also amend the invoicing schedule so that the final payment matches with the final, or the deadline.
And then also to,
Stagger the payments to every other month?
yeah, to stagger payments, and to allow Dale Holstein the opportunity to sign the amended contract
Okay,
as the park board president.
all right, so is there a motion on that item?
That's a lot.
Just a lot.
So it would be a motion to extend the 5-year master plan contract to October, amend the invoicing period to extend out to October, stagger the payments to every other month, and allow the park board president, Dale Holstein, to sign the amended contract.
Okay.
So if you want to motion that, then.
Yeah, so it definitely makes sense to give them time to get feedback in the busy months. So I will give a motion to, extend, hold on a second, I'm sorry. Sorry, it closed on me. To extend the 5-year master plan deadline and to also amend the payment deadline to reflect that extended date into October, to stagger the payments and to allow time for Park Board President Dale Holstein to sign it.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Can I ask a question? Does that incur any additional costs or credits? Or would it just be an extension of the contract, basically from an April due date to October?
Or August, you said.
Or what?
Yeah, we wait April, we were not even close. Yeah, there are no other additional fees incurred, it's just stretching the project timeline out a little bit longer and making sure that we don't finish paying on this before it's actually due, so, yeah.
That was my only concern.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there's a motion by Sarah, second by Greg. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, number 4, I think this is more of a discussion item as well, town grounds use and management by Parks Department.
Yeah, so as we're growing and trying to do new things, it's just been discovered, that we need to just clear up a little bit of what our, use and responsibilities and financial responsibilities are to, with pertaining to town grounds. Possibly, is it a park space, is it considered town grounds? The buildings there on that. We've actually put a meeting on the books internally with our 2 council liaisons, and the town manager, and we have 2 representatives from the park board to meet and discuss further what this future looks like. We've just kind of been running in a gray area, and we're trying to find a black and white area, to operate in. And, so as those roles and things may be changing, we probably have a better idea once we have that March 14th meeting
Yeah.
that we were able to schedule. So I do appreciate everybody, being available to discuss and help us figure it out, because I've kind of just been floating around, not knowing what we could do as the Parks Department.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
And I think this is gonna be a positive, not only for the Parks Department, but for Public Works and the other departments, in town, to know who's responsible for what and who's managing what facilities and grounds. And like you said, we do have that meeting, so I'm sure there's more to come on that. So I guess we can, I wanna keep this on here as a discussion item for next month. So is there a motion, to defer this to the April meeting?
I'll motion to defer discussion of town ground use to the April meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sarah and a second by Greg. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Markort?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. All right, now our report, superintendent report. Not that you've already, haven't talked enough, but.
The great thing is a lot of these items are actually in my superintendent report. I just want to report on the dog park that we're currently at a 69-member, membership at the time of my report. So that feels really good about having a newly opened dog park and having 69 members. We are currently in the Upcycle Rain Barrel and Composter fundraiser event. This is a fundraiser event that we put together to help offset costs for Taylor Ice Fest. So a small portion of the composters and rain barrels will be coming back to the Parks Department, and those will be going into the fund for Taylor Ice Festival to offset that. The Upcycle Rain Barrels has actually been an event that ran through the town for many, many years. We just chose it as a fundraiser opportunity this year, knowing the need for special funding for such a larger event of Taylor Ice Festival. And it is, orders can be done now online. This information is on our website and in our newsletter. And our pickup date for those rain barrels will be June 13th here on town grounds. So you save a little bit of money when it's a drop-off type event, and it would be a great thing for the community to show their support, but also to, save a little water and conserve some water and possibly compost too. So if anything, take a look at them. They're recycled as well. Upcycle is a recycled product, so you're not only recycling and worrying about all those other things, you're hitting a couple feel-good moments with the purchase of something like that. So, the Upcycle fundraiser opportunity. And then we were able to order the landscape trailer, which was in queue from encumbered funds last year of 2023. That is on its way, hopefully to be here and experience that before May. So it'll be the second additional landscape trailer for the crew. We have ordered the John Deere Gator. This was that one piece of equipment I talked about we couldn't order until we had a place to park it. So now that we have the pool house there, that could be its home temporarily. So that's expected in May. But that would be for maintenance on town grounds, the ability to use it for the soccer program and setting up soccer fields and hauling out all the equipment for Saturday games. So I think it will be a nice amenity. We won't see so many tire tracks through town grounds with the pickup trucks going around hauling everything, and for event use. So we're pretty excited about that to come. It will also have a snow blade, so it will assist with snow removal on town grounds as well. Community outreach has been big with Greg and I when he came on board. I really said we got to make this push with community engagement and outreach. It was just something that we were lacking as a department. Efforts are there. You're seeing it. It's awesome. We were able to attend the Hanover School Corp, meeting with the Hanover School Corp. Very big supporters of the Parks Department. They are throwing our information out everywhere, which feels great. Also, Crown Point Schools are as well, throwing that out there. We met with the Chamber of Commerce at their luncheon. We were actually the presenters, and that was good. It's funny that we keep coming across people and they say, I didn't know we had a Parks Department. We might do a little stint and make a TikTok video or something like that on it, because it flourishes. You're like, we're here, we're active, we're doing things. But community outreach is very important. We've met with Dan Welch of the Boys and Girls Club and just started feeling out what's everybody doing, what do they want, and how can we assist and collaborate to make better things happen in the community as park system. So that feels really good.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good things happening. Thank you for all that. Okay, Greg, you're up.
All right, so I'll just piggyback. I mean, Minnie pretty much present some of the community outreach. I would just like to say, we do have the Easter egg coming up, March 23rd, here on town grounds at 12. We still are accepting donations, and if anyone's interested in wearing the Easter Bunny suit. Anyone?
Yeah.
So for the classes, we did have that Easy Does a fitness class. That had to go for a little bit of a hold because obviously we had the new flooring put in. Spring soccer, first registration was online in person. It went really well. We finally called all the parents, so everyone knows where they're at. We just did a shirt order form in, so we're good there. Now we have a coaches meeting coming up with the referees coming up on March 20th. And Challenger Sports is coming out here from June 17th to the 21st. So they will be coming out hosting for soccer events for children ages 4 to 5 and then 6 to 15. The registration is on the website, and we will be posting about that soon. And then the last thing I would just like to touch on is that we do have the Family Sandcastle Challenge that we would like to do on June 8th. That starts at 8 a.m. It will be right here at the Lions Den. We will we're trying to get judges. We will have prizes for the winners. And then, the last one is the Kindness Rock. We've got that event on May 13th at 5.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the Kindness Rock project?
Yeah, the Kindness Rock project is paint a rock, take a rock, leave a rock. It's just something you can do it throughout the community. We'll post it on social media pages just to show it's a community coming together thing.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the update. A lot of good stuff. Okay, is there any written communication?
We do.
Yeah,
This is the first.
I think there's and they're very similar written communications. So do you want me to read those, or do you want to read those? I can read them.
There is emails addressed to me, but I thought, sure.
Do you want to read? If you want to read them.
Oh, please. Please, I beg you.
Okay. All right, so we'll start with the email from Mike Kozlowski. My name is Mike Kozlowski, and I reside in the Ledgestone neighborhood. I am unsure if I should have sent this email to you or who I should speak with about a possible new park inquiry. I just have a question in regards to how or what it takes for a new park to be put in a neighborhood. Again, I live in Ledgestone, which borders Lynn's Way. There is only one park place set between the two neighborhoods. What would it take for the park district to install a park in our area, the requirements, basically just looking to see what would need to be done. Thank you for all and any information.
I did respond to this
Okay.
email and actually had a phone conversation.
No, great.
It's been identified where Mike lives is actually HOA parkland.
Okay,
So that park space would have to be constructed via the HOA.
yeah,
I informed him that not only that Lynn's Way has actually 2 play sets there, but informed him of where the other play areas were in the community if he was feeling that there was a deficit. There still is that disconnect that there's parks that are HOA owned in the community, and then there are parks that are publicly owned, so town owned. And we've identified those on our website. You can go to all these parks that are listed there; they are ours. Mike was just, everybody's thinking, how can we get a park place or space here? And unfortunately, even though he's earmarked some space there, they are HOA and that is HOA-owned properties for
Yeah.
them to do what they choose to do about it. So I encourage him to stick with his HOA.
okay, all right, thanks for that. And then we had one other, I'll read this one as well. Hello, my name is Kate Lovers, looks like, yep, Kate Lovers, and I was wondering if there's any way I can put in a request for a park in our subdivision. I know there's lots of kids in this block, and there is parkland in the corner of the subdivision, Wicker Meadows in Cedar Lake, Ontario, places where my home is located, my family and I would love a park. Let me know if this is possible. Thanks.
Green space, identified there.
Yeah.
I did have a conversation back with Kate. I just let her know that currently we're in that 5-year master planning. We're looking at all of our places and spaces, green spaces and play sets, figuring out what our next steps are. I encouraged her to watch our website and our Facebook page for those survey opportunities, and let her know that I would bring this before your board, that, you know, wants and needs are there for that area, and it could be considered in the 5-year master planning as well.
And I didn't have a chance to look at GIS, but is that, was that green space town-owned, or is that also HOA?
It's town.
It's
Town-owned, yeah.
Okay,
And we're just maintaining a grassy.
okay, so we are maintaining it currently, and, okay,
I had a point, I think it was you.
got it.
How big is that space?
Oh, you're putting me, I have to.
Okay, I'm just.
Yeah, put me on the spot.
Based on the map, I mean, it looks like it might be half to an acre, half acre to an acre.
So it's a little.
Yeah, and I think the Wicker Meadow subdivision might be 40 homes or so. Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move to public comment. Thank you, please state your name and address for the record.
Barb Orgy, 10290 West 138th Place. I just have a simple question. I might have missed it because I read and look at so many things, my brain is full. But there was mention in the past couple of meetings about having sessions for public comment for what the park, what they would like the park district to do going forward. I wondered if you could tell me a little bit more specifically when, where those might be, because there are people that are asking and I don't have the answer, so.
That will be a two-part thing. There'll be a survey that will be launched into the community. It will more than likely go digitally onto our website. We'll announce that on the Facebook page as well when the survey is available for the community. So there'll be that digital survey opportunity, but that's actually why we extended our contract with the engineering firm, because those pop-up and community engagements are called pop-up events. Those are going to be taking place here in the community. So once those dates are identified, more summer dates. But it's not public forum, it's not, it's, you know, talking to somebody in a park or a community event and giving your feedback to the engineering firm.
It wouldn't be like, okay, we're gonna have the park board meeting on such and such a day, and people can come to the park board meeting and give their, I mean, that's one.
Yeah, it's not kind of a formal thing, but it would be able to be announced and the dates would be released once they were identified. So we have earmarked, as a steering committee, earmarked in our last meeting for the master plan, someone at one of the days of Summerfest and maybe a few farmers markets here in the community. So I guess just reach back out when those dates are identified, but that's why we extended our contract tonight, to be able to get those summer pop-up events.
Right, and I did get that, but then, again, that's why I wondered, because it seems like on one hand, a lot of people don't like doing Facebook and Facebook-based things, and on the other hand, I suppose it's probably okay, but I don't know if it's gonna reach as many people as just doing Facebook announcements.
Our intention with the survey, I think that's a good point, right? Not everybody is social media driven, or even on the computer very much to check the website. We can have hard copies that will be able to be picked up at the park office, town hall, maybe even at the township trustee's office. So some very local areas of points to pick up, like hard copies to, you know, participate in the survey.
I like that, and probably you'll have something in the next newsletter that would be...
Next newsletter won't be going out until July, so probably the launch, we'll probably do a press release of the dates once they're identified. I think that would be the best way. It would go into the paper, like, hey, we'll be here doing our pop-up community engagement events and the survey. So I'll request that a press release goes out there too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have to go up there for public comments.
Go ahead.
No, that's all right.
I just wondered if you could repeat the dates for the concert series. I didn't hear them all.
Sure, hold on. I'll hold them off and put them away for you.
Dates?
Right. June 16th, June 23rd, July 14th, July 28th, and August 11th. Oh,
Okay, thank you.
Tonight. You're welcome.
Thank you.
If you don't have one of these, we now have the parks newsletter out. There's copies here at Town Hall, right on the counters.
Okay, thank you.
some fun information for you and some dates.
There you go.
I want to clarify that the farmer market, I don't know where this is, we approved their dates. They're
Okay.
approved.
Okay,
The only thing that we would like to include in order to protect the town is that they participate, no, I'm not saying they don't do this, we just want to make clarification. Insurance, BMI, that's the music industry, Homeland Security, they really don't have to do Homeland Security, that's more Summerfest. The fire department has never come down and inspect them, we need to make sure that gets done through the Indiana Farmers Marshal, Fireman's Marshal would like that done. And then, of course, Health Department, she always has her permits for the Health Department. So that's all it was cleaning up some
Okay.
things that would protect us as a community. And those will be added, and then also for your information, it's not the Cedar Lake Farmers Market anymore, it's Region Social LLC. So
Okay.
she's changed her name for her business. And I just got that email, so
Okay.
I shared it with you. I was wondering, there was a bucket swing at Hanover's Park, is that long gone, or? Hanover Park had a bucket swing.
When I arrived on scene, there was not one in
Okay.
inventory there,
I was just
so.
curious, because those are, pretty, you know.
$1,000.
Well, they're not very hard to destroy, so I was just wondering what, I think it was taken down because the chain was broke, but I just wondered if you had any idea where it's at.
I'll check with Public Works, that's
I'm
probably when
curious.
they were maintaining.
Yeah, because it is $1,000. So
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are expensive.
there you go, you have another swing.
yeah. Thanks for the clarification on the.
No
Yeah,
problem.
Good.
yeah. So then it sounds like we could possibly get that moving forward then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, any other public comments? Public comment going 3 times? Okay, public comments closed. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll give a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Okay, motion by Sarah, second by Greg. So our next meeting will be April 4th, 2024 at 5:30 PM. This meeting is adjourned.
Right.